It's been 5 years since the ghastly twin fire and flood disaster claimed the lives of over 150 persons. This spot, which used to be a fuel station, is where most of the action took place, with people seeking refuge from the rains, but little did they know that they were going to meet their untimely death. Half a decade after, there's still evidence of that particular incident, as the ruins of what used to be commercial vehicles tell their own tale. On this edition of the Citi Newsroom, we want to understand what has become of the victims of this disaster. Have they been compensated? And then, of course, we explore all the other angles associated with this story. My name is Tuffuor Boateng, and this is the Citi Newsroom. We have the chairman of the June 3 Victims Association to help us understand what life has been for himself and, of course, some of his members after the incident. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom, sir. Yo, tell us, how do you feel, and then have you been supported in any way?
Medase nedi kan be me gina hade ani je bia ni mu mame me gina bia ni je bia ni me mame atoyante ni siye no eye aban dada na na owo so no ndisi aban na na ewo so no e ma yete ase se we accident na asie nti obehwe ye nyina e wo hospitals no e na hospital na enye hospital baako hospitals no about 5 hospitals Kwalebu 37 police hospital ente or the support victim for no so mu yi obi every hospital no okofia omo mane 10,000 Ghana cedi ye tete sika no 100 million se nipa no okwa osen aba hospital bi wa hospital ne bagi ni sika bi aba bi odahye oni ba bi odi ni ti koto nti onfo sa sika ne bi nhwe no ho se de no ba ye den ebeto no na mrepa mu no wa maye mpata sika enti de ena eto ye tirimu nti na ya
sisia no ye pese ye te ase enti seska ne de mu fili se ntobo ankofo agege na wonde aboa mo enti mo ankasa na mo pe empata sika afri aban ho
me pa cho ane se ye pe empata sika ena afri aban ho emo de beboa ye bia ena ye den ye hwehwe afri aban ho nti moa de ye hia bi fri aban no because aban na wotwam ko na ma ye bibia ena ne o ha no so onfa bibia mfiri ono ankasa ne fituo mu mfa nya den ema dun test fraud and fire victim for.
We've come to Opekuman here in Kaswa, the home of another victim of the June 3 disaster. We want to find out what he's been up to, so come with me. Let's find out together. Well, Mr. Suraj, we understand is into farming, and so we're currently on the farm. It's an animal farm, more or less. He has his home also here, and so let's welcome him to the Citi Newsroom and find out typically what a day in his life is. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom, sir.
I'm the Mejumisu Makwaba.
So basically this is your farm, but you live here as well?
Yes, I'm live here. Yeah, but me a tenant to a bed. We me landlady no mama say me bit my bibia waha on station na room nti wa mama sa favor and say me bibia kwa tambia met na bia.
Great.
Na me so me nya misika na all
right, let's go through and then we'll see how it is, and then we can have a discussion on the June 3 disaster itself. So I want to believe we're going to the hen coop. Yeah, that's the hen coop right there. We're going to have a seat and have a conversation with regards to what happened on that fateful night at Circle. So what do you remember from that night?
The mechanic say, Wednesday to say in this year, and I do to say 7:30. I'm a point my coffee. By me do finana na meti nima ena misatiha. But yeah, weekends na ya bahasi. Ndi me do finana me say my wife mbaye. And so that's to ena me tuka no e ko say me ko fa me wife abefi. Me took a me could do not sec be bia flade. My family wife I took any more. Yebe coffee, Miss Mammy Topu diesel or filling station. Middle filling station and so call me engine and a mechanical off. And I miss my wife, my wife, me brand, me buy AC from. Yes, I be cross up Vienna City on now on a flooding, and it's okay. Ye trank a crana, and soon she and I call. Pekupana my wife said, Mindani me china me shemichi, me shares here a journey, a tomitisu, a strogia, and who should be. Mensubetti maname da Odona market each one. Nan sooner at trim at the alcohol. The ministry man I mean nanti, Miss Sorry Nanti Bahaon, me bedu now on in Yasisa a month, Yasisa Biaco. Now a ball 11 to 12. Sometimes so Miss Sop taxi bia obian family. And I made it nanti call at the backup polyclinic. Me do na me ko gate mo big gate na mo gate man kra hu mi an odwane say saman me say gate man kra na hu mi si na odwane the next funds way and me dan me fa and anti ko reach me di reach na so me situation the omo de mutimi wo me say 37 nti me manage ba kwam and me nyaka na me do ko 37 me ko do 37 ndi mitimi ma nurse ni me mubisha na woni ma no ni number me ma ni number pe na mo friend me mbusa for buy no asa no bedu na me ni afra me ho hwe biom me anu so akata mitimi ebie ma no ankas na mpese me che mo say me wife ni me bra ewo account bet o mo hwehwe mo bet me ntimi kasa biom me no so akata me ho hwe.
Oh, what happened to your wife and your brother?
Omu wuye. Me shrom na minim se omu wukura. Nti me da 37 for 1 year. Da ye be discharge me first discharge no. And psychologist for by a number catch me say my wife we free me brand so we free.
What work were you doing before the disaster, and after that, are you able to do same?
Bacho na me bus driver. You discharge me 1 year no me be fee. First anniversary no na abenda da my 10,000. Ndi me be fee na eno na me di transportation eco review editor drew antibiotics none boy din pan ye trauma ye discharge you protocol na ewo hospital nde asam nti na ton drew nti 6 months na 10,000 asam beni aban che junted for scan sa muskan amuna mo yid de betua me medical bills.
That's kind of nice. And how much did they commit to footing your bills?
Next can 40,000 now on the Bremen. It's kind of 40,000 na medical baby na ndro nti medicatia ndroka nti ebe yi mi no 40,000 na san na sa kam say mi bi am besaye nti ena mi sa frɛ na mo foze nti 40,000 ndru baby anti mi sa wo surgery bia besaye bi ona mi so okay nde ena omudi adisrede edbeto Citi for enim se na Kasim ehiamboa ena Citi for ni metro for omo collaborate na omo donati 25,000 over 25,000 ibidaso ena mkotia message mami nti mini na mo fokwa na ko na mko share settle service.
So it's been 5 years. Well, you've received some level of assistance, but obviously you still have some challenges with which you would need to be assisted. What is your plea, or what request would you make? And then also, what advice would you put out there to forestall any such event from occurring?
Me da admission Munia deligraphy for a baby Sam say, na medalsin na my one dinner at no, Edma Ben and beat my ear. And I'm so beat my family na me condo, but Nina is cassin. And I say, okay, ye me a me from na ombeshana omboa famine. Ye me na mo omama miskana me sacha na e wo hase no. And ba kuni. And I'm koto 400 base. Ebegum ahane ahasi na 300 waha ena 100 wahasi. Okay. Na o masati fine na ekwen pa na nkoko no aye kese na sia lockdown na we mentimia na mekoda Kasapol clinic for 2 weeks. Nti me jachirima my wife say on share mbwana mami. Ba mbwa we nso rule regulation ewa do not say o mamu no we say o show mu ye ndi me ba na nkoko no nyina eyare. Nti me frɛ vet for ebehwe eni be baso na nkoko 350 efrim kakra na akan. Nti me hwea na me say with the mimpaba ena me sorry call family so chinchin ebisa about nkoko adwuma mu ena me kwese mo say me pe incubator o mama me incubator na say miniska metima koto base bi nti o mama me incubator na for the meantime wo mutu kusiana na ma hachi apai na masa erukoba kakakra nti sana me yen na me kwaji obi incubator beto den we nti mapai sisi amanya chickens we no manya 80 and that was sisi ya nti na megusia kakakra si.
So that's the story of Kasim Suraj. Now he has gone into animal farming to make ends meet. But of course, it has not been easy. It is still not easy. We're still on this matter, and we're going to bring you more on this particular subject. What reliefs are available to these victims? We've come to the office of Mr. Seji Saji, Deputy Director General in charge of technical and reforms at the National Disaster Management Organization. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you.
The disbursement, the figures, did they cut across? Was it one figure for all, or we looked at the degree of injuries and then we issued specific amounts to these victims?
So what we did was we tried to do a categorization. We had a category of families that lost loved ones that have not been supported. There were quite a few. Then we have those who were severely injured and those who had minor injuries. So those were the three categories that we used. Now what happened is that a certain benchmark sort of has been set, because when the incident occurred, government has already supported those families that lost loved ones with 10,000 Ghana cedis, and some of the injured with also 10,000 cedis, severely injured with 10,000 cedis to pay their hospital bills at that time. So our disbursement went in that direction. But we realized that if we were to do 10,000 cedis across board, the funds available to us was not going to be enough. So hence the categorization. So we supported those who were severely injured with 10,000, those families that loved ones too with also 10,000. Then the minor, those who suffered minor injuries, we supported them with 8,000 cedis. But there was an outstanding case of one of the victims who has been in hospital since 2015 to 2019 when we were doing the disbursement. So we visited the gentleman at the hospital, had discussions with the hospital, and they provided us with a bill. The bill was that high, but we were able to support in the first instance with 40,000, then also the 25,000 that was in the Citi FM account. So in all, the gentleman had about 65,000 to support his medical bills.
So Is it to say that we've exhausted the funds available to us for victims of June 3?
Yes, we have exhausted the fund, but as I said, in our terms of reference, we were to also look at the funds available. That's why we contacted all these various institutions that were reported to have raised some funding around the time that the incident occurred. And as I told you, it was only Citi FM that we were able to get some monies from, which added to the $200,000 that the Benin government supported Ghana government with.
Some of these victims are still scarred for life. Those without physical scars have the memory of the loss of their loved ones. Have we ended the process, or are we still open for or to receive some more funds to assist some of these persons?
Well, as we speak, we don't have any funds specifically dedicated towards supporting such persons at this particular moment. But that is why after our disbursement, we have had various engagement and call on the public to also support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seji Saji, Deputy Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, bringing us up to speed on the disbursement of the support package for victims of the June 3 twin flood and fire disaster.